The day started like any other. Children walked to school. Shops opened. Planes flew across the sky. People had no idea that everything was about to change. Then it happened. At 9:17 a.m., without warning, the sky turned red over 5 major cities: New York, Beijing, Cairo, Paris, and Mumbai. For 2 seconds, everything went silent. No birds, no wind, no sound. And then, the world exploded. A flash of blue light shot down from the clouds, hitting the heart of each city. Buildings melted. Streets cracked open. Millions vanished in an instant. People who watched from far away couldn't believe it. It looked like the sun had fallen to Earth. Satellites caught everything. Live news showed firestorms, screaming people, and a strange humming sound coming from above. But no one saw the enemy. No ships. No warnings. No demands. Just destruction. Governments panicked. They thought it was a new weapon. Maybe a rogue nation had done it. But then the scientists spoke. Something had come through the atmosphere. Fast, silent, and cold. It wasn't human. It wasn't from Earth. It was alien. The first voice to confirm it was Dr. Lin Zhao, an astrophysicist from Hong Kong. She said the objects moved too perfectly. This is not a natural event, she told the world. We have been attacked from space. That night, the world cried. The death count crossed 100 million. Leaders begged for answers. But the truth was darker than anyone could imagine. Far from Earth, hidden in deep space, the attackers watched. They were called the Varnuk, a cold, logical alien species. The Varnuk had studied Earth for years. To them, humans were violent, chaotic, and dangerous. The Varnuk believed they were bringing peace by destroying us. But they had made one mistake. They didn't finish the job. In a hidden bunker deep under Colorado, General Marcus Reeve watched the burning cities from a screen. His face didn't move. His voice was calm. "Activate Project Phoenix," he said. His men froze. "Sir, that's not ready." "It doesn't matter," Reeve said. "They struck first. Now we strike back." Project Phoenix was a secret human response plan, not a defense, a counterattack. It was built for one reason. If Earth was ever attacked by aliens, humanity would not beg. Humanity would fight. The project was hidden in old mines, oceans, deserts, and mountains. It held weapons the public didn't even know existed. Lasers, AI warships, cloak drones, and orbital cannons created in silence, waiting for a day no one believed would come. Now, that day had arrived. Meanwhile, above Earth, the Varnuk ships remained hidden. They thought humans were too broken to respond. But in the ashes of cities, survivors rose. Firemen dragged people from rubble. Doctors treated the burned. Soldiers guarded the streets. And across the world, a single message echoed: "We are not finished." In London, a teenage girl named Asha stared at the red sky. Her mother was gone, her home destroyed, but she held a photo of her family tight. Around her, people wept, but Asha stood. "They want us gone," she whispered, "but we're still here." In space, on Earth's secret station known only as Fort Sentinel, Commander Elena Ruiz received Reeve's command. "Launch the Arclight fleet," the general ordered. Ruiz hesitated. "They'll know we're alive." Reeve looked straight at the camera. "Good. Let them know what humans do when you burn our sky." 10 ships left the dark side of the moon, cloaked, armed, and ready. Humanity wasn't dead. We were just waking up. Space was silent, but not empty. The Arclight fleet, 10 black warships built in secret, moved through the void like shadows. No lights, no signals. Their mission: find the enemy and hit back. Commander Elena Ruiz, sitting inside the command deck of Arclight 1, stared at a large screen showing the Earth behind them. Smoke still rose from the surface. Cities still burned. But Ruiz's eyes were cold. She touched a photo taped beside her seat. Her brother, a firefighter in New York, was in it. He didn't survive. Now she had only one goal: vengeance. "Status report," she ordered. "Fleet is holding formation," said Lieutenant Mira Singh. "Cloaking active. No enemy movement detected. Yet." "Yet," Ruse repeated. That word hung in the air like a storm about to break. Suddenly, an alarm beeped. Fast. Sharp. Contact. Mira shouted. 3 unknown signals, approaching fast from the asteroid belt. On the screen, shapes appeared. Dark, sleek ships that didn't belong to Earth. The Varnuk. "They're here," Ruse said. "Time to show them what humans can do." Unlike human ships, the Varnuk cruisers were alive, built from a metal that moved and healed. Their weapons were plasma spikes that tore through steel like paper. But they didn't know what Project Phoenix had created. Ruse raised her hand. "Drop cloaks. Fire all cannons." The silence of space was shattered. From each Arclight ship, white-hot beams of energy sliced forward. One Varnuk cruiser took a direct hit and exploded into glowing debris. The second dodged and fired back. A blue spear of plasma hit Arclight 6, cutting through its engines. The ship spun, trailing fire. Inside, the crew screamed as systems failed. Evac pods launched. Someone yelled. "But we lost 6. Ruse gritted her teeth. "Keep firing. Don't stop until they're dust." In the chaos, humans used the secret trick: eye-guided missiles. They moved unpredictably, learning the enemy's patterns in real time. One by one, the missiles found their marks. Boom! The second Varnuk ship cracked open, its guts spilling into the void. But the third was different. It didn't fire. It didn't run. It just hovered, watching. "What's it doing?" Mira asked. "Why isn't it attacking?" Ruse narrowed her eyes. "Scan it." Data flowed across the screen. The ship was sending a signal, not a weapon. A message. "It's speaking," said the communications officer. "Translating now." The message played. Cold. Robotic. Not a voice, but a warning. "Your response confirms the danger. Humanity is unstable. Total cleansing will begin." Silence. And then the ship vanished. "Where did it go?" Mira asked, panicked. "It just disappeared." "Hyperjump," Ruse said slowly. "It's calling for backup." Back on Earth, General Reeve slammed his fist on the table. "They know we can fight. That means the next wave won't be a test. It'll be war." He turned to Dr. Lin Zhao on the screen. "How much time do we have?" "Not long," she replied. "Maybe days. Maybe hours." The skies had burned once, but the real fire was still coming. All across Earth, humans prepared. Old enemies made peace. Scientists shared tech. Civilians joined training camps. Earth wasn't united before, but now it had one enemy. The Varnuk thought they could strike once and leave Earth in ruins. They were wrong. In the dark of space, Commander Ruse gave one last order to her fleet. "Set course to Titan Station," she said. "We need everything we've got, because the next battle won't be small." And as the Arclight ships disappeared into space, one truth echoed through every human heart. The aliens struck first, but humanity never stays down. Not without a fight. It began as a whisper. In the early hours of the morning, deep under the Arctic ice, Earth's top listening post caught something strange. A low hum, hidden in static. At first, they thought it was background noise. Just space dust. Then the hum changed. It became a rhythm. Then a voice. The technician, a young man named Darius Voss, dropped his coffee as the signal grew louder in his headset. His heart pounded. His screen filled with symbols, sharp, alien, and fast. It wasn't random. It was a message. He hit the emergency line. "Command, we've received something. I think they're talking again." At Fort Sentinel, General Reeves stared at the decoded message on the screen. Next to him, Dr. Lin Zhao paled. "What does it say?" Reeve asked. She looked up slowly. "It says, the black signal has begun. Surrender is no longer an option." Elsewhere, hidden across the solar system, human deep space satellites began to fail, one by one. A strange pulse, like an invisible hand, knocked them out. It wasn't an attack. It was a test. The Varnock were scanning Earth's defenses, and now they knew where to hit next. Meanwhile, Commander Ruiz and the remaining Arclight fleet reached Titan Station, a human base orbiting Saturn's largest moon. It was built to watch the stars, but now it had a new purpose: war. As Ruiz stepped off her ship, she was greeted by Admiral Hugo Brandt, an old man with sharp eyes. "You brought the fight to them," he said. "They sent a warning," Ruiz replied. "They're coming back. Bigger, smarter." Brandt nodded. "Then we need to show them something they've never seen." He took her to the core of the station. There, behind thick glass, floated Project Ember, Earth's first quantum war core. It was a living machine, built from captured alien tech and human eye. It could guide ships, rewrite code mid-battle, even think like the enemy. Ruiz stared at it. "Is it ready?" "It has to be," Brandt said, "because the black signal isn't just a message, it's a countdown." Back on Earth, chaos was rising. In a quiet forest outside Berlin, people stared at the sky. Clouds swirled into strange shapes. Animals fled. Electronics sparked. Something was in the air. Suddenly, a black beam of light shot down from the sky. No sound, no warning, just impact. Where the light touched, the ground turned to glass, and in the center stood something tall, metallic and moving. It was a Varnock beacon, and it wasn't alone. Within hours, more appeared, one in the Amazon, another in the Sahara, one even in the ruins of New York. They didn't speak, they didn't move, but their message was clear: you will be erased. World leaders met. Panic spread. Some wanted to surrender. But Reeve sent out a single broadcast to every screen on Earth. He stood tall in his uniform, fire burning behind his eyes. To the Varnock, he said, "You may have more ships, more weapons, but there's one thing you don't understand." He leaned closer to the camera. "Humans don't give up. We adapt. We fight. And when we lose, we come back stronger." His words spread across the globe. From soldiers in bunkers to survivors in refugee camps, people cheered. In space, the Arclight fleet prepared for their next mission. Strike the beacon on Europa, one of Jupiter's moons. Intel showed it was the command node for the others. If they could destroy it, they might break the network. As the fleet approached, Ruiz gave her crew a final message. "They call it a black signal. They think it's a death sentence," she said. "But we'll make sure it's a message they regret sending." The countdown began. The war wasn't coming. It had already started. The moon of Europa was covered in ice. Beneath its frozen surface was a dark, salty ocean. For years, scientists believed it might hold alien life. They were right, but not the way they hoped. Now, hidden below that ice, the Varnock command beacon pulsed with black light. It sent signals across space, waking ships, weapons, and war machines. It was the heart of the enemy's invasion, and it had to be destroyed. The Arclight fleet hovered in high orbit, cloaked and waiting. Inside Arclight 1, Commander Elena Ruiz studied the layout of Europa's surface. Her face was calm, but her eyes burned. "If we cut the signal here," said Lieutenant Mira Singh, pointing to the map, "we stop the other beacons. No orders, no control." Ruiz nodded. "Then we burn Europa. Hard and fast. No mercy." But just as the attack was about to begin, something unexpected happened. A human voice came through the fleet's comms. "This is Lieutenant Caleb Vaughn of Earth Recon Unit 17. I repeat, I am alive on Europa. Do not fire. The room went silent. Is this a trick? Mira asked. No, Ruse said, eyes narrowing. That voice. I know it. 2 months ago, Lieutenant Vaughn and his team were sent on a secret mission to Europa to spy on alien movement. Everyone thought they were dead, but Vaughn had survived, hiding in the frozen tunnels beneath the beacon. Now he was sending one last message. I have eyes on the Varnock cord, he said. They're growing something under the ice. It's not just machines. It's alive. Ruse grabbed the mic. Vaughn, this is Ruse. Tell me what you're seeing. Static filled the channel. Then a strained voice replied. They're not just invading. They're building a new kind of ship, part metal, part flesh. If they finish it, we won't stand a chance. Ruse turned to her crew. We changed the plan. No more orbital strike. We go in, take Vaughn out, and blow it from the inside. Hours later, a human strike team landed near a crack in Europa's ice. The cold bit into their armor. Every breath fogged the visors. They moved fast and silent. Beneath them, the tunnels were alive with a pulsing light, black and red, like a heartbeat. The soldiers stepped carefully. One wrong move and the whole tunnel could collapse. Then they heard it. A low growl, metal scraping against ice. Out of the shadows came the Varnock sentinels, tall, four-legged creatures made of shifting armor and glowing eyes. Silent, deadly. Open fire, shouted the team leader. Bullets sparked. Energy blasts lit the dark. The sentinels fell, but not before 2 soldiers were taken. The team pushed forward. In the final chamber, they found him, Lieutenant Vaughn, half frozen, bleeding, but alive. Get out of here, he gasped. They're waking the core. Behind him, a massive shape began to rise from the ice, tentacles of metal and bone. A single red eye opened. Move-E. Ruse screamed through the comms. In orbit, Arclight 1 locked onto the chamber's coordinates. They had one shot, one weapon strong enough to break through miles of ice. The Sol Lance, a sun-powered beam cannon, hidden until now. Ruse gave the order. Fire. A golden beam cut through Europa like a sword. The ground cracked. The ice boiled. And the alien core screamed as it melted into nothing. The signal stopped. Every beacon on Earth went dark. Back on the surface, the human team raced to their ship as explosions shook the moon. Vaughn looked back one last time and whispered, "We stopped it." Ruse watched from orbit. Europa burned, and for the first time, the Varnock were silent. Back on Earth, people cheered. Screens lit up. Survivors wept. For once, humans had struck the winning blow. But deep in space, far beyond Mars, the real Varnock fleet began to move. Massive warships the size of cities, covered in armor, armed with weapons never seen before. The black signal had failed. Now the Varnock would answer with something worse. Extinction protocol. But Earth didn't know that. The silence after Europa's destruction didn't last long. Just 6 hours later, deep space scanners picked up something big. A fleet. No, more than a fleet. It was a Varnock war column. A chain of battle carriers stretching across space like a moving mountain range. Inside were thousands of living weapons, and leading them was a ship larger than Earth's moon. Designation: Treadfather. No one on Earth had ever seen it before, because it was only sent when an enemy had to be erased. Inside Earth Command, alarms screamed. Lights flashed red. General Reeves stared at the hologram in horror. "They're not coming to fight," he said. "They're coming to finish us." Dr. Lin Zhao's hands trembled as she decoded the newest message. It was just 2 words. Extinction protocol. Across Earth, satellites fell. The moon's orbit changed slightly, barely noticeable, but enough to panic scientists. Something massive was pulling at it. "Their gravity weapons are active," Zhao said. "They're trying to destabilize Earth's orbit. If the moon moved too far, tides would shift, weather would collapse, and then life would end without a single shot fired. But Earth wasn't giving up. In the cold black above, Titan Station roared to life. Commander Elena Ruiz stood in the war room, surrounded by officers, scientists, and soldiers. "We have only one choice," she said. "We hit them before they reach Earth." Admiral Brandt stepped forward. "They outnumber us 10 to 1. Their shields are stronger. Their ships are smarter." Ruiz didn't blink. "Then we fight smarter." She revealed Earth's last secret weapon, the Widowmaker Protocol. It wasn't a bomb. It wasn't a ship. It was a virus, built to infect Varnock tech. A digital plague designed to twist their code, confuse their systems, and make their ships turn on each other. "It's dangerous," said Dr. Zhao. "If it spreads too far, it could attack our tech too." Ruiz looked at the screen showing the Varnock fleet. "If we don't use it, there won't be any tech left." Far away, the Varnock fleet advanced slowly, like a storm cloud stretching across the stars. Inside one of their command ships, a strange creature sat alone. It wasn't metal. It wasn't flesh. It was something in between. The Mind Herald, leader of the Extinction Force, watched Earth's defenses light up. It didn't feel anger or fear, only cold logic. "Human resistance exceeds predictions," it said to the swarm. "Recommend full planetary deletion." As the Varnock closed in, Earth's united fleet launched. Thousands of ships, old and new, flew out from the Moon, Mars, Titan, and Earth itself. Humans who once fought each other now stood side by side. Arclight 1 led the charge. In her cockpit, Ruiz looked down at her photo again, her brother, smiling. She whispered, "This is for you." Then she gave the order, "Engage." The battle in space was chaos. Laser beams crossed the void. Missiles screamed silently through the black. Varnock ships twisted through space like living serpents. One by one, human ships exploded. But they didn't stop. Inside the chaos, a stealth drone reached the center of the Varnock fleet. It carried one thing, the Widowmaker virus. "Now," Ruiz said. The virus activated. At first, nothing happened. Then, the nearest Varnock destroyer turned. Without warning, it opened fire, not at humans, but at its own fleet. Confusion spread like wildfire. Ships began spinning, shooting in random directions. Some crashed into each other. Others simply shut down. The virus was working. But then, the Dreadfather responded. A pulse wave fired out from its core. Every infected ship stopped. And then, rebooted. But this time, they were worse. Now they could learn. The virus didn't break them. It evolved them. "They're rewriting our virus," Zhao cried. "It's adapting." One by one, Earth's ships began to fall back. Ruiz looked around the battle map. Red lights everywhere. She opened a channel to all remaining units. "This isn't the end," she said. "It's just the beginning of the real fight. We hold this line, no matter what." A damaged ship, the Ash Storm, turned back toward the enemy. Its captain, bleeding and tired, smiled. "Let's show them how humans go out." He crashed his ship straight into a Varnock warhead carrier, triggering a chain explosion that took 5 enemy ships with it. Across the battlefield, others followed his lead. Suicidal runs, desperate shots, not because they wanted to die, but because they refused to let Earth fall. And far below, on Earth, billions watched the sky, not in fear, but in fire. Because even in the face of extinction, humanity was still fighting, and the Varnock were finally starting to understand. They might win the war, but it would cost them everything. The sky above Earth was no longer blue. It burned. Ash clouds covered half the planet. Ships exploded like falling stars. The Varnock had not broken through yet, but the cost of holding the line was rising with every second. In space, Commander Elena Ruiz stood inside the burning bridge of Arclight 1. Sparks flew from the ceiling. Smoke filled the air, but her voice remained steady. "Report." Lieutenant Mira Singh coughed, her arm bleeding. "We've lost 40% of the fleet. The Dreadfather's main cannon is charging again." Ruiz's jaw tightened. "How long?" 3 minutes. "Then we don't have 3 minutes." On Earth, General Reeve watched from the war bunker beneath Colorado. The battle above looked hopeless. Varnock ships kept coming. Earth's defense grid was nearly out of power. Beside him, Dr. Lin Zhao whispered, "We have one option left, but we were never meant to use it." Reeve looked at her. "The fallback plan." She nodded. "Project Hollow Sun. It uses the Earth's core, pulls energy directly from the mantle. It could power a weapon strong enough to destroy the Dreadfather." Reeve stared at the screen. "What's the risk?" Zhao looked away. "If we fire it, there's a 10% chance it cracks the planet." Reeve sighed. "And if we don't fire it?" She didn't answer. Up in space, Ruiz stared at the Dreadfather. The enemy ship pulsed with light. Strange black rings spun around it. They were gathering energy to end Earth in one single beam. She knew they had seconds left. A private message came through to her cockpit. Reeve's face appeared on the screen. "Elena, we're sending power to your location. You'll have one shot, one beam. You aim, and we pull the trigger." She nodded. "Understood." Arclight 1 flew straight toward the Dreadfather, its hull cracking, systems overheating. Behind it, power from Earth's core surged into its weapon system. The Hollow Sun was awake. Inside the Dreadfather, the Mind Herald sensed the change. For the first time, it paused. Something felt different, uncontrolled, unpredictable, human. It tried to adapt. It tried to counter. But this wasn't code. This was rage. This was survival. "Now," Ruge shouted. A beam of white gold fire shot from Arclight 1, piercing through layers of armor, shields, and matter. It hit the core of the Dreadfather. The ship screamed, not in sound, but in force. The explosion lit up the dark side of the moon. Varnock ships nearby were vaporized instantly. Others began to retreat, their command link broken. On Earth, the lights flickered. Earthquakes shook cities. Volcanoes trembled. But the planet held. Barely. For a few minutes, there was silence. No more enemy signals. No more attacks. Just fire and quiet. On the battlefield, the remaining humans looked at each other, stunned. They had done it. They'd stopped the extinction protocol. But peace didn't come. Not yet. Because something was still moving inside the wreckage of the Dreadfather. Ruiz watched from her cracked view screen as pieces of the ship began pulling themselves back together. It wasn't the fleet. It was a Varnock core intelligence. A last fail-safe. It wasn't here to fight. It was here to send a message. From the ruins, a deep, ancient voice echoed through space in every known human language. "You have chosen pain. You have chosen fire. You have chosen war without end." Then, silence. Back on Earth, Dr. Zhao read the final data from the Dreadfather. "It wasn't their only flagship," she said quietly. General Reeve turned. "There's more." She nodded. "That wasn't even their home fleet." Reeve said nothing. And for the first time, he looked afraid. In a hidden lab beneath Antarctica, a secret council gathered. Not politicians, not soldiers, but survivors of the First Contact program. Humans who had known about the Varnock long before the war began. One of them, an old woman with silver eyes, stood and spoke. "They thought we would kneel, that we would run." She looked at the screen showing the broken Varnock ships. They were wrong. The humans had paid a heavy price. Billions dead. Cities gone. The sky blackened. But they were still here. And now, the galaxy would know. If you strike Earth, prepare to burn. The stars were quiet again. Wreckage floated in space like broken bones. The Dreadfather was gone. The Varnock fleet was shattered. But Earth was not celebrating. Not yet. Because something, no one knew what, was still watching. Commander Elena Ruiz stood alone in a ruined observation deck on Arclight 1. The ship barely worked. Half of it was missing. But the communication array had just powered on again. A message was coming through. But it wasn't from Earth, and it wasn't human. It was the last transmission of the Mind Herald, recovered from the remains of the Dreadfather. A warning, not for the Varnock, but for someone else. In a dark command center beneath Earth's surface, General Reeve and Dr. Zhao watched the strange alien symbols scroll across the screen. Machines worked to translate it. Bit by bit, the meaning became clear. Message sent, the AI voice said, to the outer swarm. Zhao froze. They weren't the only ones. Reeve asked, outer swarm, what does that mean? Zhao whispered, it means the Varnock weren't the top of the chain. Across the galaxy, far beyond what Earth could see, a signal blinked on in the black. It reached ancient worlds. Forgotten places, silent machines buried in alien soil began to stir. Something heard the Varnock's cry. And it was disappointed. Because humans hadn't just resisted. They had fought back. And won. Now the galaxy's oldest species, watchers, gods, monsters, turned their gaze toward Earth. For the first time in 1,000,000 years, something new had risen. Back on Earth, Ruiz stood before a live camera feed. The people of Earth watched from every city, every station, every bunker. Her face was tired, blood on her uniform, eyes sharp with fire. We are not broken, she said. We are not gone. We were attacked, betrayed, nearly erased. She paused. But we are still here. Around her, soldiers stood in silence. Some had lost families. Others had nothing left but the uniform on their backs. But this is not the end. Ruiz continued. Others may come. Worse than the Varnock. Stronger, older, smarter. But let them hear this. She looked straight into the camera. If they come for Earth, they better bring a fleet big enough to burn the stars. General Reeve stood beside a quiet screen. What happens now? Dr. Zhao replied. We rebuild. We prepare. And we evolve. She turned to him with a hard look. Because next time, Earth won't wait to be attacked. We will strike first. Years passed. The world changed. Ruins became cities. Dust turned to steel. Humanity grew sharper, faster, more united. The Terran Defense Union was born, a new force that stretched beyond Earth, beyond Mars, even past the asteroid belt. And on the edge of known space, at the dark frontier where no sunlight reached, a warning beacon pulsed in every known galactic language. We are the children of Earth. We remember Europa. We remember the Dreadfather. Strike us once, and we will burn your skies. Then one day, a single human ship received a faint signal, weak, broken, but clear. It wasn't a threat. It was a whisper. From far beyond the stars. We saw your fire. We heard your rage. We are not your enemy. Let us speak. A new voice. Not the Varnock. Not a god. Something else. Something curious. Ruiz, now an old admiral, stood aboard a new flagship, Titan's Wrath. She listened to the transmission, then smiled faintly. Looks like we're not alone anymore. She turned to her crew. Send a reply. What should we say, Admiral? Her officer asked. Ruiz looked at the stars. Tell them the truth. A pause. We're human, and we don't kneel.